Your favorite video games are infected with a digital disease. We're not talking about microtransactions or battle passes. No, we're talking about a virus. Picture this, you're deep in the middle of your favorite video game, kicking your legs in the air, having the time of your life, but suddenly your screen starts lagging, your game stutters, and before you know it, your computer's acting like it's in someone else's control. Files become locked and start disappearing. Pop-ups demand ransom or else those files are gone for good. And your RGB Mountain Dew fueled gaming setup is now a chaotic mess. To some of you, this may sound familiar. Whether you've experienced it firsthand or not, millions of PC gamers have faced the nightmare of video game viruses. In this video, we're uncovering the chilling reality of these digital invaders, ranging from your average ransomware to system bricking malware, and invasions of privacy in the name of security. Join me as we dive into the most notorious, damaging, and controversial video game viruses ever made. You'd like to think that your video game consoles are safe, right? The thing about console games, especially back in the late 90s and early 2000s, is that they typically came bundled with some extra goods that you could load into your PC, such as soundtracks, screensavers, and if you're a first print copy of Tiger Woods 99, an early South Park short. One such game for the Dreamcast, Atelier Marie and Elie, came with discs that included special bonus features that were accessible when placed in a computer's CD-ROM drive, one of which is an Atelier-themed screensaver. This screensaver, once installed, delivered a payload in the form of the Cry's computer virus. Once this virus is executed, it would spread throughout the system, deleting data to any connected hard drives and removable media, flashing the computer's BIOS and rendering it unable to boot. It is unknown how Cry's infected the Atelier disks. The best guess is that workstations used to create the final versions of the initial batch of shipped games were infected with the virus, thus spreading to the files of the first wave of games. The game released on November 15, 2001, and only 5 days later on November 20th, Cool Kids released an apology statement via its Japanese website and provided further information for those who already bought the game along with links to an antivirus tool, followed by a new version of a virus-free version of the screensaver to download once the whole situation was contained. Customers that were in possession of the infected game were encouraged to return or destroy their copies. Since Atelier was not hugely popular outside of Japan in 2001, Cry's didn't have much of a global impact, ultimately allowing the incident to be contained. But is your console safe? The answer is yes. The Cry's virus cannot infect the Dreamcast because of the hardware differences to a computer. So if you have one of these copies or ever seek them out, unless you know what you're doing, just keep it in the Dreamcast system. Your computer will be held hostage if you play this Sonic game. Sonic Gather Battle is a fan-made game released in 2014. It used the Little Fighter MD2 game engine and is a mix of arcade beat-em-up and multiplayer. The game overall at release had positive reception, but in 2017, an update patched the game with DRM malware. Not long after this update, a Reddit post was made talking about a very sketchy DRM system that had been discovered. The user shared that the DRM protection could be activated by typing the game's name followed by hack, cheat, or mod into a web browser while the game was running. And in doing so, the browser would close. It would also close the game if a cheat engine was discovered to be running. This DRM had 2 levels of protection. When the first level of protection is activated, the stage background turns blue and black, the song Fakery Way from Sonic Adventure plays, and ghosts that can kill the player spawn in the levels. When the second level of protection is activated, the stage background turns red and black. Static noise would play along with the American Boss theme from Sonic the Hedgehog CD, and red eyes would appear across the screen and giant ghosts that kill the player instantly spawn, rendering the game unplayable. During these protections, the game would ID a user's IP address and send it to an online database. This way, the DRM would return if the game was reinstalled. The only way to fix this was to contact the creator and prove innocence, having them whitelist the computer. The reason this DRM exists in the first place is because the creator was protective over their sprites, and after this incident, they were banned from future Sonic Amateur Games Expos. This DRM can ultimately be considered ransomware since your computer's info is held hostage by the creator, and instead of payment, you have to prove innocence. There's more Sonic games out there, so unless this re-releases without the DRM, avoid it at all costs. Remember the time when a Hollywood studio released a video game based on a movie about hacking and ironically shipped the game with a virus that hacked your computer?
Shall we play a game?
Oh.
I'd say no, and I don't blame you. If you install the initial copy of this game on original hardware, you only have 3 months to play it. WarGames was a video game released in 1998 by MGM Interactive for Windows 9X systems. It was a real-time strategy game loosely based on the film of the same name and inspired from the Command & Conquer series. Marburg, the virus that was shipped with WarGames, is a direct action virus, meaning an infected file must be run in order for the virus to infect other files. Once active, it deletes integrity checks in the files to avoid detection by certain antivirus software, and in some cases, it could delete the antivirus from the system. If a user were to register the game electronically, this would deliver Marburg onto the system and would lay dormant for 3 months from initial infection. The virus would cause the user's screen to be flooded with the Windows error icon. MGM Interactive responded to the report saying that the full retail version of the game carried Marburg, and they asked all owners not to register it electronically and reached out to all of those who were infected, offering a virus-free version of the game as well as a free copy of Norton Antivirus that was capable of deleting and removing the virus. This game has a PlayStation 1 release, so if you're interested, maybe go with that version of the game. What is the highest score you've ever gotten in a video game? Now multiply that in your head until it hurts, because if you want your files decrypted from this game, you need to score 200 million points. Touhou Seirensen is a shoot-'em-up game released in 2009, and in 2017, a South Korean programmer developed a ransomware that can infect Windows computers called ransomware. He initially made the ransomware as a joke, which he released on GitHub, not having any actual malicious intent behind it, but after its release, he found out on Twitter the next day that his malware had spread rapidly. When ransomware runs, it encrypts the user's files, and once this happens, a warning window that cannot be closed opens. The malware forces the user to play Touhou Seirensen, and the infected user had to acquire the game themselves to even begin the process. It requires that the user plays on lunatic mode and to score 200 million points in order to decrypt their files. The program also advised the user to not kill the ransomware main program until their files are decrypted, unless they want to lose all of their files permanently. During this widespread infection, the programmer accidentally ran it on his host machine rather than a virtual machine, encrypting his own files. He himself admits that he could not score the 200 million points required for decryption. As a response, he made and released a separate program that would brute force ransomware to decrypt the user's files. He uploaded this to GitHub to help affected users, along with a public apology. This game is available on Steam virus-free, so if you're interested, give it a go. Just see how long it takes you to score 200 million points. This next virus is confusing for various reasons. On one hand, it allegedly has infected 50,000 users, and on the other, it's been reported as way overblown. We're gonna go deep into the creeper cave for this one. We're talking about Minecraft. In 2018, on the official Minecraft domain, there were infected skin files for download that ultimately affected 50,000 or more accounts. Again, this was not from a third-party site, this was from the official Minecraft website. Due to this, users may have dismissed security warnings as false positives, since you surely wouldn't be able to get a virus from an official domain, right? We'll come back to that. The malicious Minecraft skins were created in PNG format and were a vehicle for the virus. The virus executed a malicious PowerShell script, and its design was to delete backup data in system programs as well as reformat hard drives. The code for this virus was very simple and likely enacted by script kiddies instead of professional programmers, especially since some of the users could receive unusual messages in their account inbox such as, "You were nailed, buy a new computer, this is a piece of you have maxed your internet usage for a lifetime," and more colorful ones beyond that. But again, could this even be possible from the official Minecraft domain? Well, Mojang immediately clarified the situation as somewhat overstated, saying that while the PNG files contained additional code, they could not be run or read by the game itself, only by the user's actions to activate the infected file. It's likely those that were infected and actually got the virus were social engineered to do so, or weren't tech savvy enough to be more cautious with the files. Mojang decided to err on the side of caution though, rolling out an update that stripped out all information from uploaded skin files other than actual image data. So was this overstated? Well, there are users that did get infected, but really Minecraft is safe. Just listen to your computer's security warnings, even if files come from official sites. Remember browsing Newgrounds in the mid-2000s and getting lost in cheesy Flash games and internet-defining Flash animations? No, don't worry, Newgrounds didn't infect the systems of its users. But if we go back to 1999, when Macromedia Shockwave Flash files were beginning their reign of popularity, we could have been met with file names like boxing.exe, fun.exe, and nostress.exe. These files circulated on popular Usenet newsgroups and supposedly originated from Turkey. And once downloaded, an invisible Shoerec infection would spread onto the user's computer. These files, like boxing.exe, would open a cheesy Flash boxing game the user could play. Once infected, the virus locates various .exe programs and renders them inactive. The virus would then lay dormant for 4 months, and after 4 months, Shoerec activates its payload and it gains control of all desktop icons and causes them to run away from the cursor. Opening programs infected by Shoerec on the first 3 days of any month will instantly delete every file on the drive. This is due to a routine payload which a Trojan delivers for Shoerec, but this only happens 7 months after arrival. The longer Shoerec stays on a system, the more fun is had, such as the changing of the computer's win.com file to deliver either a meaningless strain of characters in Notepad or a message to honor its creators. Attempting to restart the PC after Shoerec's long stay will destroy all boot functionality, killing the computer entirely. Something about this would be rather creepy. I mean, just look at it. Picture it in the dark of night in front of your Windows 98 computer screen's glow, not knowing that your computer is now terminally infected until it's too late. You either love Battle Royale games or avoid them like the plague. But for PUBG, someone loved it so much that they wanted to really express that love in the form of ransomware. Yes, that's right. In 2018, someone created ransomware that forced you to play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. The ransomware virus encrypted a user's desktop folders and files with the PUBG extension to them, creating a pop-up that required the user to play PUBG for 1 hour in order to unlock their files. The ransomware also checked to see if the user is playing PUBG by monitoring running processes for TSL game. According to affected users, you only actually needed to play 3 seconds of the game for the malware to decrypt all files, showing really that this is not an advanced piece of software, only making sure the executable was checked for the decryption. Overall though, this appears to be joke malware, as if you really did not want to play the game, you could enter a provided code in the pop-up to decrypt all of your files. So it's not necessarily malicious, but how one even gets infected with this is beyond me. I personally will throw my computer away before ever touching PUBG. Sorry if you love PUBG. What is the most you've ever paid for a microtransaction in a video game? How upset would you be if your purchase decided to spy on who you are and collected private information about you. We're not talking about Riot Vanguard, that's free. In 2018, a company called Flight Sim Labs released a payware add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator called the Airbus A320X. This add-on was for a plane in the game, costing the user $100. The installer for the FS Labs A320X included a file called text.exe that triggered alerts and antivirus software as noted by users. FS Labs responded vaguely to this issue with a statement on their forums instructing users to temporarily disable their antivirus software, citing the warning as a false positive. The file was really a program called Chrome Password Dump by a company named Security Exploded. This program being used as a tool for security researchers and penetration testers, it dumped users' autofill usernames and passwords from Google Chrome into a text file. FS Labs would take this file, save it as a log file, encode it, and send it unencrypted to their servers. People on the forums expressed their concerns for this breach of privacy, causing the FS Labs founder and lead to make a response. This response did anything but quell the concerns of the users, as it admitted to the use of intentional malware as an excuse to stop piracy, which is in fact highly illegal to do. FS Labs claimed that this was done to catch one specific pirate. The backlash to this grew to a point where mainstream gaming outlets were starting to report on it. FS Labs responded to this growing attention by releasing an updated malware-free installer and offering refunds, but never actually admitting to any wrongdoing. After things settled down, FS Labs decided to get a little quirky once again. The installer started leaving a file called cmdhost.exe in users' Windows system directories. People reported that their flight sim startup was being stopped by antivirus software. One user reached out to their own antivirus provider, Hitman Pro, who confirmed FS Labs' file was using a technique called process hollowing. Process hollowing basically starts a program, freezes the program mid-execution, and then is replaced in memory by a second program. Process hollowing is often used by malware to hide from users while pretending to be a legitimate program. FS Labs explained this as part of their e-commerce partners activation system, or as the term everyone knows and loves, DRM. Even though they were caught in the spotlight once again, FS Labs decided to double down and threaten legal action, this time specifically against r/FlightSim. The subreddit posted an open letter to Flight Sim Labs, and in this letter, they posted emails from FS Labs in which their PR manager gently reminded the mod team that Reddit had a legal obligation to remove libelous comments defaming FS Labs, and if the mods didn't comply with FS Labs' demands, they would be forced to seek legal action. The mod team for the subreddit called out FS Labs for saying they welcomed robust and fair comment and opinion, while engaging in censorship in their own forum and on Reddit. The mod team also highlighted that legally there was nothing FS Labs could do, as user statements did not constitute libel under United States law where Reddit was based, or the United Kingdom where FS Labs was based. FS Labs also reached out to FS Elite, a flight sim news site, and demanded censorship on their own articles surrounding the FS Labs controversy. FS Elite refused their requests, blacklisting FS Labs from their reviews and editorials until they could earn the goodwill of the community back. In the end, nobody was sued or charged with any crimes, and FS Labs still to this day has not recovered from these incidents. And you know, it's always crazy to me on the ego that some of these companies have. Like, yes, on one hand, you absolutely have the right to protect your intellectual property, but this is a flight simulator video game. It's not a ranked multiplayer online game where people are trying to hack a ladder or uncover confidential documents that expose the craziest secrets of the world. People just want to fly their planes, man. That's it. But anyways, that's all for now. If you like this video, turn on notifications and check out this video over here. You'll probably like it. See ya.